and I think it was used a lot for the Stingray that it has, but now, I mean, there's so many weapons with Stingray, and so you can usually find something that paints better or kills better or both. Sometimes, like, it still has, it's very conditional. Like, I still see some nasty sloshing machine play on tower control, namely, because it's really good at taking advantage of height differences.
And of course, that Stingray.
Yeah.
Very dominant in the tower control meta, at least.
Yes.
It's and I don't think that's ever going to change. I mean, there's no weapon that stops the run so quickly, so efficiently as a Stingray, just by itself.
Yeah. Like, sure, it pushes you out of spawn now, but other than that, it's still the same old.
This is true. No, you can't just do it from spawn anymore, which is probably why I've gotten worse. But regardless of that, I mean, ZL, you're doing that work with the team. Just, I mean, the results haven't always been there, but man, you're putting in that work. You're averaging like double-digit splats.
Yeah.
I mean, how often do you practice, man? Seriously.
Well, I play a lot now. Like I said, I just started playing. I got the game for Christmas, and I've been playing since then.
Yeah.
So lately, I've been putting in a lot of time. I try to play every day, several hours a day if I can. Although, admittedly, I got a little distracted by Fortnite.
It happens.
Yeah, everyone's playing Fortnite now, so.
But there's no gyro control, so eventually I'm like, this sucks, and I go back to Splatoon. But yeah, I'm trying to play. This is my first LAN, like I said. So,
Right.
Welcome.
This is my first time really seeing how I stack up, and I'm satisfied with how I'm doing.
Yeah.
Stick controls are undefeated. Now they're going to see if they can mash some potatoes in splat zones here at Mako Mall. Very wide map. A lot of lanes to get to that splat zone, but as we see, Sweet
Muddy
Potatoes.
Jr. is already in the center.
Yeah, Muddy Jr. with that Splatter Shot Jr., fearsome weapon in his hands, alongside a Splat Roller, an NZAP 85, and a Jet Squelcher on their team. But taking control is Sweet Potatoes using a Slosher, a Dualies, an Ink Brush, and an NZAP 89, I believe it was. Could be wrong about that. It was the N-Parry Dualies at that, and an 89. There you go. The N-Parry Dualies we've seen so much from Japanese players. It's really dominated that meta, in part because of that Inkjet, but also the added mobility that the Tentatech just doesn't really seem to have.
Yeah, the curling bomb really helps you get around quickly if you're confident in your movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it can sort of help lock out a zone, more or less, just to really makes you use that negative space before you ink it up. But just closing that off, making a little bit of a wall of ink. And speaking of walls of ink, Raptura just doing some work with that Slosher, pushing back Sumo Storm, eventually confirming the kill alongside the Inkjet. Raptura, I mean, hey man, the guy knows his sloshers.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's ridiculous with any type of slosher he can play. So I've known him for quite a while now.
And Scooter, I mean, so dangerous with those close-up weapons. We've been seeing him use Splooshamatics, I think, 9 of the last 10 matches, I want to say, but going with the dualies this time.
Yeah. It's still a similar weapon where he's still playing the flanker role. He still has the curling bombs to make his fast approaches. So I don't think it's particularly surprising to see him switch to this of all things.
3-3 on the field, but the baller looking to exact some measure of control. Raptura gets splatted by Muddy again, sneaking up with that Splatter Shot Jr. 2-1 on the field, and it looks like stick controls are going to cut into that penalty now. Oh, there he's running into a 2-on-1 and eventually catches that slosher. Who else but Raptura?
Yeah.
I just noticed, Muddy on Splatter Shot Jr. is that?
Yeah.
He's been mostly playing blasters, has he not? So that's a little surprising.
He's kind of ranged it by mode. He's been playing a lot of blasters, yeah, especially the range blaster and tower control. But he has used the Splatter Shot Jr. and in fact he won. He and his team won last time's the last Splatboro tournament that we had with Splatter Shot Jr. primarily.
All right. I have a weakness of accidentally underestimating.
Oh, T-Turtle got caught by Scooter again with that close-range prowess of his with those dualies. And he has an Inkjet ready as well. Will he use it now? We will. Oh, but T-Turtle, again, just jumps right into it. You got to be so careful when super jumping because you just never know. And that's part of the reason why you don't push forward so much because you never know when your teammate is going to have to jump to you and you could just be jumping into an assault.
Things can change in a matter of seconds, so if a zone looks safe to you, it might not be safe when you jump in 2 seconds later.
Raptura just evading danger just a little bit, and They have lost control, but we'll see if they can get it back. Oh, looking for that. He just ran right into a barrage of ink from MF Verge and his ink brush. But Muddy Jr.
Close game so far.
39-31. They're looking to cut into the penalty. Our stick controls. That's not going to help them. Oh, wait a second. Stick controls taking control now, looking to cut into their penalty and maybe take the lead if they can lock out. Sweet Potatoes. MF Verge again with that ink brush. I mean, he's going to have to make use of its speed because he was definitely outnumbered. But with that baller, if he can wrest control away from them, he can. And he will make the sacrifice for it, and it is 3-2 on the field in favor of stick controls. Will they reclaim control of the zone? Ink Armor goes up from Muddy Jr., and yes, they will.
Looks like they will.
Oh, wow. Beautifully done, and it was a team effort, but it's Muddy Jr. and company. I mean, you saw Scooter just sneaking up right behind him. Like a pincer movement, and they've gotten rid of the penalty already.
This is looking pretty decisive here.
It looks like that's going to do it unless a miracle happens. It will not. Stick controls will take the first game of Splat Zones here at their final match. These two teams' final match in our Splatboro Saturdays tournament. Now Pixely.
Yep.
Now we've played against both of these teams. We've seen what they've done well. We've seen where they kind of struggle. And again, Muddy Jr. 22 splats.
Oh,
seriously.
Goodness.
Scooter and Raptura. Raptura, I'm not really sure. Raptura, yeah, let's go with that. 18 combining for 33 splats altogether. Just could not get it done eventually with getting knocked out. What do you think the key was for stick controls? Man, obviously 22 splats doesn't hurt, but aside from that.
I mean, it's just Muddy Jr. carrying the whole team. To be fair, if it was just 4 versus 1, I feel like Muddy Jr. would still have a decent chance.
You know, you could have a point there. You could have a point there. I mean, we saw him play against a very good player in Astro last time he came out. A very good player with chargers and a couple mid-range weapons. But Muddy Jr. was able to neutralize that just by sneaking up behind him with that Splattershot Jr. and inking all the turf. That's how you lock people out. You just cover the turf.
You have to identify flankers as soon as possible because they tend to be repeat offenders, and you just gotta trust that they're gonna go for it again and again and again.
Exactly, but how do you, as your opponent, like say that you have your usual squad, your usual team, how do you neutralize that specifically?
Well, I usually play the back line, so if no one calls out that a flanker is coming, the most I can try to do is if I can't fully cover the flank, I will try to at least put some paint that they'll have to get through, and I'll just be checking the map once in a while to see if I know that they kind of had to paint over that little spot I made. I'm like, okay, they're coming.
We've seen you do very well with the Rapid Blaster Pro in this tournament. I mean, again, averaging double-digit splats, but I mean, if you're usually a backliner, certainly haven't shown it here.
Yeah, I try to play the role that I need to play.
How selfless of you.
And
Getting the most splats on the team just because his team needs it.
Well, the Rapid Blaster Pro is still like the longest range blaster there is, so it's still like the most passive blaster that I can go for.
Yep. Speaking of range, a Hydra Splatling being employed along with an NZAP 85, a Splat Roller, and a Splattershot Jr. That is stick controls, opposing them with Sweet Potatoes, a custom dually Squelchers, Splooshamatics, excuse me, an Ink Brush, which Ink Brush Neveu, excuse me, and an NZAP 89, 100% using that 89. It's been doing that quite well. Again, I mean, that's the weapon you want to be using for Splat Zones. But man, the range on that Hydra Splatling, that is scary.
Brutal there.
Yeah.
Even though it didn't play out well for them, I appreciated you could see the implied communication with how Scooter was hiding back so that teammates could jump to him. I believe that was Scooter.
No, you're right. And it was
it's just something you don't see in solo play that much, unless they're like smashing this way. So it's one of the things you only really see in local play that's exciting to witness.
You saw Scooter trying to chase
Coming
them
from
down.
behind.
Oh my goodness! Boy, they read that perfectly. Big stabs with that big Splat Roller, dropping the hammer on that flank. And you see it, 52-100. They'll have to retake control if they don't want the penalty. And yeah, they're back in control again. 49-100 on the field right now, and 4-2 on the field. They need people on the ground fast.
Would this be a knockout? Well, time will tell.
Absolutely right. 33-100 now. The time is ticking away. The clock is not the friend of Sweet Potatoes at this point. And again, with that Hydra Splatling, that domineering presence, but that Ink Brush Nouveau, well, it certainly felt the wrath of the Hydra there. Big Staz inking turf.
Uh-oh.
And
Oh.
wait a second.
Ran out of ink.
Oh, wow. Big Staz almost getting caught. But we're down to the last 10 seconds. He gets caught from behind by Scooter. How many times have we seen that before? But that
they're
is going to
down.
do it. A clean, decisive knockout by Stick Controls. I mean, Scooter and Muddy, what a combination. Just an incredible short-range duo that, frankly, it's hard to do much of anything about on a pretty, let's call it a pretty, you're supposed to know where you're supposed to go in Moray Towers,
Muddy
you know?
Jr. again with over most of the splats in this game.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. He does carry that load, but it really is a
Yeah.
team effort. You saw Burge doing that work with the heavy splatling, just covering that area and making sure that
yes.
his team. I mean, it was really sometimes you use it on the back line to make sure that your team has enough area to work with. But in this case, and you saw it there, Boink, just hit the zone as much as you possibly can and retain control.
Yes, and I've noticed something specifically with Moray Tower splat zones, or really any of the stages with a split splat zone. It's really tough to get momentum back because in single splat zones, your team can kind of make a Hail Mary rush to just take the zone and get the penalty on. But here you have to take 2 spots. So like every now and then you'd see them take the 1 spot back, but then they have to move on to the next one. They maybe gave everything they got into that first one, and then they just get wiped out again. So it tends to snowball in that way on these stages.
There's only so much that you can do in a 2-zone split like Camp Triggerfish or Moray Towers, as you mentioned. It's such a crazy difference in the game, especially when you have to not only take 2 zones, but really just getting control of one. Is like you have to hope that you get them to lose control of one, but you can't really do that at the last second.
Agreed.
So now we see the 2 teams setting up for a new mode. They are going to make it rain on Muscle Forge Fitness, and so let's say you're Sweets Potatoes, Pixely. You're down 1-0. If you drop this set, you come away with a losing record.
Oh yeah.
What is your main mindset going into this?
I would definitely like go straight for Muddy Jr. to be honest. Like find out which paths he's taken and eliminate him like early on before he's able to make more damage.
He moves like a snake. They're going to see if they can slay him. Sweets Potatoes looking to salvage a winning record. Stick Controls looking to go undefeated. Time to make it rain, folks. The Jet Squelcher ends at 85, an Aerospray MG. Or is it RG? Not really sure. It's the silver
MG.
one, and a T-Tech Splatter Shot being employed by Stick Controls while we see Sweets Potatoes. Oh, look at that. The sloshing machine, along with the Splooshomatic, a Splatter Shot, Vanilla Splatter Shot, and an NZAP 89. And already that Rainmaker, they're putting a dent in it, or Stick Controls, very early on. It's aggressive. I kind of like it.
Yeah, they have to go. They're just trying to lock everything down.
Raptura trying to do everything he can to push up to that front line. Scooter, meanwhile, with the splat. Oh, but he runs right into Muddy Jr. The snake hiding in the grass gets the kill in the middle of the map, and all of a sudden, it really is anyone's game as to who gets that Rainmaker when it's in the middle of the map.
Staz is trying to be sneaky here. Okay, Raptura is down. So they're a big player. They're 3 down. This is going to be...
Oh, wow. You're absolutely right. 4-1 on the field, and Sumo Storm and T-Turtle will carve the path. Here come the 10 missiles from T-Turtle, and all the splats coming in already. Burge and Raptura, the last thing standing in the way of Muddy Jr., and there's the knockout blow. Stick Controls 1 game away from coming away undefeated here at Splatboro Saturdays.
And that was a great combination of subs and specials at the very end you saw there.
Absolutely. The 10 missiles, just pepper them with it. Be an annoyance. Make them move their position. Beautifully done by T-Turtle. Beautifully employed at the end. And 7 splats for him. I mean, take a bow, T-Turtle. That was him in the spotlight.
Yeah, we didn't even see the Inkjet come out, which was what I was really curious to see out of Muddy. I don't even want to know what he could have pulled off with that, based on how he was doing just with a Tenatech alone.
Well, clearly he doesn't need to show his hand now, does he?
Yeah.
So this is the last game, and again, now it's the Reef, another relatively open map. And I gotta say, if you're in a grassy field, that gives the advantage to a Snake now, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
And so you got to think with the amount of pads that Muddy Jr. has to work with. I mean, you have to really go out of your way, Pixely, to take that out and really make a conscious effort of that. But how distracting does that become from initiative, from the objective?
Well, depends on whether or not it really comes down to communication with the rest of your team. Because one of the interesting things in this tournament is that there's no barrier between your two teams. So if you say something, the other team will hear you, and everyone will know your strategy. So it's just all about sending one or two squids out to take out. That must start.
Can they make it through this tournament undefeated? We will see as they employ a mini Splatling, an NZAP 85, and Aerospray MG, the silver one. Let's just go with that. And it looks like a range blaster. Is that so? Or is that just a regular blaster? I'm not sure. Tweet your anger at me at Stu the Announcer. Anyway, Sweets Potatoes going with the Sloshing Machine, Sploosh-O-Matic, Vanilla Splatter Shot, and the NZAP 89. Now, Boing, we've seen the Tenatech Splatter Shot gain a lot of favor in the meta, but I mean, some people just like prefer the vanilla.
So, with the Inkjet coming back into favor, more so with the nerfing of non-Inkjet specials with the 3.0 patch, that's definitely what brought the Tenatech back. And another thing that...
No Stingrays in Spawn.
Yeah. Another thing that holds people wary of the vanilla Splatter Shot is...
Wow, look at that double. Scooter doing that work, but oh, look who it is. It's Muddy. El Hijo de Muddy. Let's go with that.
Oh, he's back on a blaster. 2 indirects with that thing, you're just down. It adds up quickly.
Oh, and another one. My goodness. Yeah, Muddy Jr. just paving the path. My goodness, if only PennDOT paved that fast, huh? And now T-Turtle. Oh, denied at the death. T-Turtle. They are going to take the Rainmaker and bring it out just a little bit. I don't know how you reset it, but that would...
have to fight for their lives here.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a hard comeback.
Scooter taking care of the Aerospray up top, but they are coming down below. Sumo Storm, excuse me, is eventually neutralized, but you're just a little slower in that Toxic Mist.
They're coming around to the side.
There we go, and eventually Big Staz stays down. Can they get the comeback here? They're paving the way, but eventually stopped at 20. Muddy Jr., but they still have 2 more people to deal with. They will not do so. T-Turtle with that mini Splatling. I mean, it's little, but it packs a lot of punch.
I am a huge fan of the mini Splatling. I love the amount that it paints for the little charge time compared to the heavy, and let alone the Hydra. That thing terrifies me. But yeah, I find the mini to be a fun mix of support with a little bit more aggression. So I like to see people using it.
But I do tend to agree with you, and it seems to be a theme. With the more open maps, you want the added mobility, so you go with that mini Splatling or the Zinc, depending on your needs. T-Turtle retreating. That does make the countdown tick down just a little bit faster. Not sure if that's what his team needs, but with a map like Moray Towers or Camp Triggerfish, you want that range, and that's where you rear the head of the Hydra, I guess. Oh, it's counting down fast. The 10 missiles will cause him to lose the Rainmaker. Well employed by that team. And it's 4-1 on the field. If they're going to push, they're doing it now. Raptura. Oh, my gosh. The ace of the side with the Rainmaker. Oh, he gets caught by the blaster again. Muddy.
2 down there. So, sure, they caught him, but he picked off 2. He already did half your team down. You got to keep your eye on Muddy.
Sumo Storm just trying to get any angle he can. On that Rainmaker, he will not. Scooter doing that work, young man. But he gets caught in that back alley, and let's face it, nothing good ever really happens in an alley now, does it?
Nope.
It's 4-3 on the field. Raptura getting splatted by Muddy Jr. again, just utilizing oh my gosh, triple. And the triple, my goodness.
That was a team wipe. Not from him alone, but yeah, triple kill.
Slapping it into the baseline up to the wall, and he gets his team a triple. T-Turtle again with that mini splat lane. Oh, I think he pushed just a little too much there, and that's it's 4-2 on the field. And again, Sweet Potatoes with a clear and present opportunity, but can they take advantage of? Oh my goodness!
They're down.
Oh my goodness!
That's
This
not
might
good.
be it. Could this be the knockout? Muddy Jr.
Oh!
Switch the splat. No, but he gets
Oh.
caught just at the death, and Muddy Jr. Oh, but he's catching. Wow. I think he traded off to get that quad and wipes the team.
Nope, still
and it
alive.
looks like that will. Wait a second.
Oh.
He's getting pushed back, but Muddy Jr. My goodness!
With the
What a
spot kill.
stand!
Oh.
Muddy Jr. Get you
What a
some!
spawn kill. They struggle up the wall. There we go.
And that is going to do it, Muddy Jr.
That
putting
is
the
a
team on
beautiful
his
spawn
back
kill.
with
That's
the
great.
force of a hurricane, blasting
Goodness.
Sweet Potatoes out of this competition. And stick controls come away undefeated.
That was just.
That was a spectacular play right there.
There's so little to
With
say about
32
it.
kills, too.
32 KA. What?
Incredible.
An absolute. That was like Custer's last stand.
Oh
It was
my.
amazing. Just right up on the hill. They're
Yeah.
charging right down at you. But Muddy Jr., his aim unwavering, comes away with the victory for his team.
You getting up?
Folks, my voice is darn near shot.
Yep.
I don't know how to. Boing, thank you for joining us on commentary.
Yeah, no
I wish
problem.
your team the best of luck in our match.
Yep. Definitely.
And
Let's have fun.
Pixely,
We're gonna play together now.
absolutely, man. It's honestly, it's been a pleasure playing with you. So
Oh,
thank you so
definitely.
much.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we're gonna see if myself, you, Rakesh, and Thunder can take care of ZL. We'd like to come away with a winning record,
Oh, I hope so.
but we'll certainly have to see, folks. There's only one way to know for sure, and that's to stick around. But folks, while we set up for that, you can go ahead and pull up that social media tab. You can go ahead, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, and hey, you're already watching the Twitch, but hey, be sure to check us out on Discord as well if you want to connect with gamers, Nintendo fans from all around the Philadelphia area. I'm Stu, the announcer, and we'll be right back here on twitch.tv/bros_calamity.
That was not bad at all. You're like 2 seconds ahead of what I was about to say, so.
I'm sorry, dude.
No, it's good.
I do broadcasting for like pro wrestling, so like you kind of have to know what's coming.
Yeah, I think I like that. Really cool.